Okay, this game is Alekhine versus Alexander, played in Nottingham tournament of 1936. The Nottingham tournament of 1936 is quite special because there was several world champions competing in it. In Nottingham 1886 was run by Byrne, so this and 50 years later he became the councillor of Derbyshire and the president of the British Chess Federation. He guaranteed half of all costs for the international tournament. The other half was raised in a campaign by Rees, Stevenson and Sir Thomas. The participants of this Nottingham 1936 tournament stayed in the Victorian Station Hotel and took part in a garden party at Remston Hall. There were 11 foreigners and 4 Englishmen who played at the university from the 10th until the 28th of August 1936. Games began in the afternoon. The time limit was 36 moves in 2 hours. Should have been 30 moves, but a misprint was left unchanged. Adjourned games were resumed in the evening. So in terms of champions, there was the top 8 were the champions Juve, Lasker, Capablanca, Alekhine, Botnik, Fine, Rzewski and Floor. An incredible tournament, and I hope you don't mind that little interlude. On to the game. Alekhine playing white against Alexander. He played d4. Alexander played knight f6. And we had c4, e6. Now knight f3, which is a modern treatment, avoiding this Nimzo engine, trying to get a queen's engine instead. Bishop b4 check, knight d2, b6 now. g3, bishop b7, bishop g2. Castles, castles. Now, black perhaps controversially gave up the bishop. This bishop is, for white, it's going to be very useful now, this, especially the way Alekhine uses it later on. So he plays b3, leaving it potentially on this ideal diagonal, pointing at black's king. Knight d7, bishop d2, rook b8, rook a d1. So white's position's very nice aesthetically. You know, black's position is quite solid, but this bishop is going to be a chief imbalance difference, which Alekhine fully exploits. Knight e4, queen e3, now f5, which is a bit controversial because it's sort of weakening the king position a little bit, and potentially, you know, if black, for example, needed to protect this later, you know, f6 out of the question now. So committal pawn moves, you know, you've got to be wary of them. Alekhine now plays d5, unleashing this bishop. Now black took here. Perhaps he should have considered e5. Let's have a quick look at e5, though, to see if there's anything drastically wrong with it, to try and block this bishop. Maybe knight h4 here. So white will be threatening knight takes f5 and bishop e4. So if g6, black will be losing a pawn, which is probably not a good idea against Alekhine. So that's probably why he rejected it. This knight h4 is quite forcefully winning material. So black just took here, but it does leave this horrible bishop though on this diagonal. Knight f6, knight h4, still played, so still annoying. Bishop h3. Now Alekhine's provoked a further weakness on this diagonal. So you can see this bishop is growing into a monster at this rate. f3. Now queen g5, starting a pressurizing campaign on the dark squares. So black's passively defending this. b4 now, knight d7. Now e4, horrible move to face. So this pin and this pressure on f5. So black took here as a tactic though. So if bishop takes g7, the knight takes g5. But Alekhine hadn't blundered because he's had a look at this retreat, this fine retreat, queen c1. So what has white gained for this pawn sack? Well, the E line is now opened up for usage, another road into black's position. But instead of like rook e1, black plays the stunning bishop takes f5 here. So why can't black just take this bishop? Let's have a quick look. If takes, knight takes f5, and now if queen g6, knight e7, if queen f7, knight h6, forking queen and king like that, So where is this queen going? In fact, if king h8, then knight h6 check, king g7, and queen g5 is embarrassing. So, oh dear, the black queen is lost here. So that's why he can't take this. So what he did play was actually king h8. So white's got material back and has got a lot more roads into the black position now. The diagonal, this file. What he does play now is bishop e6. So this pressure is not going away. There's nothing to parry this bishop. This is not very nice. Rook a, sorry, bishop a6, rook e1. Now knight e5. White just got this piece out of the way with f4. And now knight d3. Now Alekhine simply played rook takes d3, because after bishop takes d3, you would think he was trying to do something with this unpre bishop, but actually he simply continues his pressure campaign on this diagonal by playing g4, which is annoying to say the least. Is black completely gone here? Probably. Okay, let's see. If, for example, queen h6, then white can simply just retreat this knight to d2 and now faces g5. So, alright, say he accepted g5 is going to be played. This is fairly grim. And in fact, here, as is usually the case in these brilliant games, instead of just casually getting material, just increasing the pressure is often better. So queen e1, stretching the pressure on the diagonal. So what does black play here? It's very grim. It's hopeless. Because black really doesn't want to face, for example, this kind of thing where he's getting mated like this. So g4 and the diagonals become critical. In fact, so critical, black decided enough is enough and resigned here. So that was a fine game by Alexander Alekhine in this famous Nottingham 1936 tournament.